Now when you think Ford Mustang, you probably think powerful and fast. And let me tell you, this 4-cylinder Mustang is no joke. I've just got one thing to tell you about this Ford Mustang 4-cylinder. Don't sleep on it. So new for 2020, Ford brings you the High Performance Package, and we'll go through all of that. I'm going to show you everything you get with this Mustang, take a look at the outside, the inside, and of course we're going to go for a test drive, see just how well it drives, and we'll see if the turbo is worth the money. I'd like to start things off under the hood with this 2020 Mustang, because under here is what makes this Mustang in particular pretty special. So with any EcoBoost Mustang, you're going to get the 2.3 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, but that's not the exact same engine right here. In fact, those of you that remember the Focus RS, you actually get a version of that engine in this car. So you've got 330 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. So about 20 more horsepower than the other EcoBoost model, and that can actually push this thing 0 to 60 in the mid 4-second range. Now before you sleep on this 4-cylinder turbocharged 2.3 liter Mustang, just remember, like a decade ago, this thing could beat the manual version of the GT 500. That's pretty intense, so definitely do not sleep on this Mustang. There is one downside, one big downside to having an engine this size, and we'll go through that with the exhaust a little bit later. One nice thing about having a turbo is that you get the torque, 350 pound-feet of torque early at 2,500 RPM, so you don't even have to rev this out. Another difference with this one and the regular 2.3 liter EcoBoost is the torque comes out a little earlier, it's got a broader curve, and you can rev the engine even more to get more horsepower than that other engine. So this engine is, Ford did a nice job with this engine, especially for being a small 4-cylinder. A 6-speed manual is standard, but we have the optional 10-speed automatic, which is about a $1,600 upgrade. It is a pretty quick automatic. We'll go through that in the test drive. Miles per gallon, if you're curious, you can get up to 28 miles per gallon on the highway. Now as we take a look at our 2020 Mustang here on the outside, we've got hood accent stripes, which are pretty cool. They kind of fade into the hood and some hood vents on the hood. Then you got this blacked out grille and a really aggressive front bumper splitter. So the whole front end of the Mustang definitely looks aggressive, especially with these LED headlights, including their signature lights, and you even have the LED fog lights and turn signals in that same housing. The color on this Mustang is called Grabber Lime. It is a super vibrant color. So if you want a Mustang and if you really want to stand out, go for this Grabber Lime. I've had a lot of people talk about this car, look at this car, you'll get that everywhere you go. And with our high performance package, we've got these dark 19-inch wheels with wider tires, 255 tires, and even larger 4-piston brakes than you'll normally get. Of course, the Mustang is still the fastback style, and you even get a lower side skirt as well to kind of complete the look with the front and rear bumpers. And we even have the optional Torsen 3.55 limited slip rear axle. You'll get a limited slip differential standard on the Mustang, but we have the Torsen limited slip with the different ratio. And you also get a thick front and rear sway bar for great cornering. You can optionally get the MagneRide damping system for a super responsive suspension. And then in the back, as you follow that fastback down, you'll get the raised blade deck lid spoiler, the LED taillights with the sequential turn signals, which are definitely pretty iconic for this version of the Mustang. And we even have the optional quad exhaust, which we will listen to in a little bit. Otherwise, you'll just get a dual exhaust. When you think Mustang and Camaro, you probably just think, you know, tiny, impractical trunk, but that's not necessarily the case. So one, you can open up the trunk with the little touchpad under there, or you can use the key fob. And then once you get this up, you actually get 13.5 cubic feet. That's Toyota Corolla territory, and I can throw all my stuff back here. It's a pretty wide area, and it's got some decent height to it, so you can't throw practicality completely out the window with the Mustang. Not to mention, you can fold those rear seats if you want to stick some larger items in here. But the only negative, in my opinion, is that you don't get a spare tire. You can't really expect it with a Mustang, but you do get a tire inflator kit. Before I tell you about the front seats of the Mustang, I want you to know when you go to get in the vehicle, you actually get a pony projection lamp as you get in the car. And the scuff plates in here are also pretty sweet. So you've got a nice night appearance. Now, standard on the premium model of our Mustang, you'll get 6-way power seats that are bucket seats that are going to give you heating and ventilation. You can even get memory settings optional. However, we have the optional ebony color Recaro bucket seats, and these are definitely sporty seats. They don't really have much adjustments. They're manual adjustment, but they are really big bolstered. They're really sporty. They really hold you in your place so well. So if you really want the feel that you're in a fast car, a sporty car, go for these seats. The only thing is that, one, they don't have adjustable lumbar support, and two, you don't get heating or ventilation in here. Overall though, the Mustang has a pretty cool feel when you sit in here. So you feel like you're kind of enveloped, like it's like a cockpit. It definitely is tight, but I've seen some pretty big dudes driving these things and be okay. The steering wheel is leather wrapped. You can even get it optional to be heated. Now I won't go too in depth on the inside, but the Mustang definitely has a bit of a classic feel with still some modern touches. So to start on the door, one thing that's pleasantly surprising is you actually get nice soft material up there all the way around your armrest, and a soft armrest as well. The Mustang gives you Ford's smart key system. We even have remote start on here as long as you have the automatic transmission. And like I said, you can pop the trunk as well, so that's pretty nice. Got the pony on the back. So right in front of you, like I said, you get this leather steering wheel. It kind of got this iconic look to it, or the classic look. You've got all the steering wheel controls that you need. I wish there were a little bit more bulky sport grips up here, but that's just the way that their steering wheels are. With the automatic, you get these paddle shifters, and we will definitely test those out in the test drive. Now right in front of you, you get this 12-inch digital cluster, which is pretty cool. There's a good amount of stuff that you can do on here. So right off the bat, I'm going to change the drive modes. So we're normal. You can have your own customized My mode, and I'll show you how you actually change the modes in a second. So Sport Plus, you could maybe hear the exhaust kick on a little bit more. Got that pretty cool tachometer over there. Still see your information on the screen below. You can even go to track mode or drag mode, and that's going to completely change what you see on here. So if you actually want to have some fun and take this out on a track, I mean, it definitely, you know, incentivizes you to do so. Otherwise, you just got your basic trip computer in there. That is about what I've been getting with mixed driving, highway and city. Got a couple trips you can scroll through, instantaneous economy, just the basic stuff. But we also have, you can see My mode, to where you can customize your mode, your steering, your throttle, all that. You can even customize your exhaust, and you can even program it to be quieter at certain times when you start the car. Using your steering wheel, you can control everything. You can see your navigation, go back to our settings, there's a good amount of stuff that you can do on here, especially for being a pony car. And if you really want to have fun, you have the track app. So you've got an acceleration timer, your brake performance, line lock. If you want to basically roast your tires, warm up your tires, they say, lap timer. So that's pretty sweet. And then as you move over, you've kind of got a couple of, large areas like where the cluster is, and over there you even have a 2.3 liter high performance chassis badge. And you've got these gauges right here, including your turbo gauge, oil pressure. So that's pretty cool. They definitely incorporated some nice elements in here. You've got Ford's typical 8-inch screen on this one. This is the premium model, so you don't have the super small or the smaller 4.2-inch screen. I'm not really going to go through this because it's just like other Ford systems, but you've got Sirius XM. We got a 9-speaker system on here. Otherwise, you can option up to get a 12-speaker B&O sound system, which usually sounds pretty nice. And of course, you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard on here as well. Then right below, you do have some physical buttons that you can use. You've got a volume and tuning knob as well. Your AC controls, this is dual zone climate control. It's fairly simple and straightforward to use. And then I like how down below you even get a couple rocker switches next to your start and stop button, or actually a couple regular switches. You got your hazards, traction control. You can customize your steering feedback, so you can have it be sporty, you can have it be normal, or even comfort mode. And then your actual drive mode that I cycled through earlier. There is a USB and a 12-volt power outlet with a little storage cubby. This automatic shifter is fairly nice. You can just go straight down into S mode for sport mode right away. There's no actual section to move it for manually shifting, so there's no dedicated manual mode. You just have to actually use the paddles when you want. I like how you still get a physical hand brake, the e-brake. The bottle holders, left my bottle in the trunk, but these accommodate pretty much everything. They've got a couple little switches or little accommodators right there. And then back here you've got another 12-volt power outlet, another USB port, little storage cubby, and the armrest is nice and soft, and this whole area is kind of low and tucked in. And then you even got some stitching over there if your knee likes to rest over here. To top things off, we got an automatic dimming rearview mirror and garage controls up on that visor. And at night, you even get ambient lighting in the door handles, the cup holders, and even down by your feet. So it's a pretty cool area at night as well. Now, when I show you guys 3-row SUVs, 2-row SUVs, no matter what, I climb into the 3rd row. But I'm just not getting in that 2nd row. First of all, there's no headroom. That's the biggest thing. The legroom is really not terrible for children, but if you have anybody that's, probably over 5 foot, they probably won't fit back there. Headroom is the biggest thing, and you just don't want to see me back there. Y'all, we are just about to get going in the Mustang. So a lot of you ask about the Mustang visibility, and it's really not good, but it is definitely better than the Camaro. When you look over your left shoulder though, you're kind of screwed. So one thing to note is that on our Premium, we've got blind spot indicators standard in the mirror. We've got the backup camera with dynamic guidance lines, and there's even rear parking sensors and rear cross traffic alert. So if you're curious about that, you got that. You can get a pre-collision system optional, adaptive cruise control optional, and a lane keeping system optional as well. Now starting out, we are just in normal mode, and I actually have the exhaust on quiet mode right now. We'll go through the louder modes and sport mode and all that. We'll have a little bit of fun with the Mustang. I'll tell you what it's been like to daily drive and live with, and hopefully you kind of get a good sense of what this High Performance EcoBoost is like. So first impression, getting behind the wheel of the Mustang, is that you hear the 4-cylinder and the exhaust, and it just doesn't feel like a Mustang. It just kind of honestly feels more like a Japanese type car, but it's still fun. You still have this solid feel of a Mustang. You feel like you're just planted in here with these seats. You've got the big burly hood, this narrow window to look out of, and it just gives you that feeling, other than kind of the sound of it. Now, we're in 9th gear. Like I said, we have the 10th speed automatic. We're going 42 miles an hour in 9th gear. If I just get on it a little bit, drop down to 5th gear, a little bit of a delay, but we're not in sport mode either. But the thing with the turbo is that you get some power instantly, so you don't have to get the RPMs up in order to get some real power out of this. Another acceleration with the exhaust in quiet mode. And you can still hear some exhaust. It's not like a super quiet car, that's for sure. Now I'm going to put the exhaust in normal mode. Then if I kind of get on it again, you can definitely hear that more so. When you have the windows down, you can really hear it. And it's not my favorite sound, but I'll try not to rant on that. But for what it is, for 2.3 liter 4-cylinder, it sounds pretty beefy. Now the weight of the Mustang can actually vary the steering feel. It's a real responsive steering feel. As you can see just with that, I mean, the car moves the second you move it. And you can make it heavier with sport mode. You can adjust that with the toggle down there, or you can make it lighter if you want to. The brakes on the Mustang do a nice job. We have the larger 4-piston brakes right now. Typically you'll have 2-piston, and they've done a really nice job. I haven't track tested this or anything, but really they do a pretty good job for daily driving. Now I'm going to put it in Sport Plus mode. The exhaust is going to be a little bit louder. Let's give this car some room in front of us. Hold the RPMs a little bit. The gauge is changed up there. And pedal down. And it'll get you up to speed pretty quick. It's pretty loud too. And when I was slowing down, you could hear it downshift. hugs the corners really well. It really does a nice job. Obviously not going super fast around there, but it's holding the RPMs. So with this turbo, you get some boost right away. We'll do the paddle shifters in a little bit. You can hear it downshift as I brake. But could you hear how quickly it goes through those gears? I mean, it definitely cycles through those gears, and it keeps your torque in the optimal range as it continues to upshift. So the 10-speed honestly fits this turbo pretty well. A couple negatives on the 10-speed is that it does feel a little bit jerky sometimes, and I think some of that has to do with the torquiness of the engine. Sometimes just slowing down, you feel almost like some jerkiness, like it really skips some gears. It goes from a high gear to a low gear. When you are accelerating just normally, it will skip gears, and you can kind of feel a little bit of jerkiness sometimes. Right now I have the weight a little heavier, and you can just see how responsive this Mustang is. It's very well planted. I think the car just recognized that I was driving like this, and it downshifted. It was ready to go. Just holds those RPMs. What do y'all think of the sound so far? Leave your comments down below what you think of the sound of the Mustang. Now I got it back in normal mode. The exhaust is in normal. And one thing about the Mustang, with any sports car, is that you're going to get some road noise. But to be honest, the Mustang, this is definitely still quieter than the last Camaro that I drove on a rougher surface. I haven't been able to drive a Camaro for extended periods of time like this Mustang, but the Mustang's really not that loud. There's really not that much vibration in here, considering the stiff suspension, you know, just the stiff structure of a sports car like this. And it's still just a joy to drive. Even if you're not driving fast, it's just fun. It's very engaging. The weight of the steering feels good no matter what mode you have it in. It's so responsive. You're sitting low in the car. You've got the big beefy hood. The seats hug you in place. I just would love to drive the V8, but this Turbo 4 is still really fun and fast. And this is quite a bit faster than the lower EcoBoost Turbo. Okay, I just put us in track mode. And we were going up a little bit of a hill right there, so. But you'll get a mid 4-second range, 0 to 60. Let's go ahead and use these paddles. And I wish there was a dedicated manual mode. Okay, downshift. So I wish I could move the shifter into a dedicated mode. I have to just right off the bat start using these paddles, but they are fairly quick. We're in 8th gear, 6th. This Mustang is fun, feels good. About the Mustang right now is that with this engine you can rev it out even more. You get the peak horsepower further in that band, so you can definitely have some fun with this. So before we get in trouble, we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up with the Mustang. I hope you've enjoyed this drive, and I hope you can understand and just see how quick this turbo 4-cylinder Mustang is. I mean, if you have an older V8 Mustang and you could pull up to one of these, you're gonna get beat, especially if you have the manual transmission. So Oofda. I mean, this thing is fun. It's fast. It just does not have that V8 sound. So if that's not that big and important to you, then you're gonna love the way that this thing drives and feels. So to wrap things up, on this 2020 Ford Mustang Turbo with the high performance package, it is still a really fun Mustang. Obviously, you don't get the same sound and powerful thrill that you get with a V8, but this Mustang with the high performance package is still really fast, it's really fun, and it's still pretty nicely dressed up. Now, one thing about it though is that this one is $41,000, and you can get a GT Premium, and this is the Premium, for the same price. So honestly, I would have to go with the V8. It just doesn't feel right driving a Mustang without a V8, although this is super fun and super fast. Now leave your comments down below. Which one would you go for? This high performance package, the regular EcoBoost, or the V8? Be sure to watch some of these other videos down below. Subscribe for weekly videos. Have a great rest of your day.